Every sport has scandals, but darts? Darts have bans so shocking that even die-hard fans still argue about them today. A player so good that he becomes unstoppable, until one mistake ends everything overnight. They walked into the darts arena as legends and walked out like ghosts. The real world behind the stage is full of rivalries, drama, ego clashes, alcohol breakdowns, and decisions that destroy entire careers.
Former world darts champion Ted Hankey has been jailed for 2 years for a sexual assault caught on camera.
You will tell us if some of these bans were even worth it, like many fans wonder, even after decades. Stick around, because the deeper we go, the worse the stories get. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the most infamous bans in darts history. I'm not just talking suspensions. I'm talking about players who were completely erased from the professional circuit. And some of the reasons will absolutely blow your mind. And one name in this video is someone you never expected to see on a ban list. Robbie Green, the drug shock that changed everything. This is one of the biggest dart bans ever recorded. Robbie Green, known as Kong, was banned from the PDC in 2006 after testing positive for marijuana, a drug sometimes used by athletes to improve their physical speed or strength. Marijuana is classified as a performance-enhancing substance by the World Anti-Doping Agency because it acts as a cognitive stabilizer. While it doesn't build muscle like a steroid, it suppresses the adrenaline and anxiety that cause the shakes. The result? Robbie Green became the first darts player in history to receive an official ban for doping. The PDC suspended him for 8 weeks. Fans were stunned. Critics debated whether the drug even helped in darts. But rules were rules, and Green became the name every player remembered when anti-doping was introduced into the sport. The Andy Fordham fallout, the legend who hit a wall. Andy the Viking. Fordham looked like the heartbeat of old-school darts. Charisma, talent, a fan base bigger than some footballers, but what many people don't know is that his career hit a sudden storm. His massive drinking became more than a personality trait. It became a barrier PDC could no longer ignore. Fordham admitted he could drink up to 25 bottles of lager in one session during his peak. That wasn't just unhealthy, that was dangerous. And as sports bodies moved towards stricter professionalism and anti-alcohol regulations, Fordham found himself shut out of the system, not through a formal ban with a headline, but through non-renewed invites, restrictions, and medical withdrawals that effectively cut him off from major events. A legend brought down by his own demons. And the question everyone still asks is, could he have dominated the modern PDC era if things had turned out differently? Raymond van Barneveld, the almost banned forever. Yes, one of the greatest players ever came terrifyingly close to a career-ending ban. It happened in 2014. Barneveld was at a tournament in Sydney when an incident with security spiraled out of control. Reports at the time suggested there was a heated exchange, and for a few days, the darts world exploded with rumors that Barney had assaulted security staff. The PDC investigated. Headlines spread like wildfire. Fans panicked that one of the sport's biggest icons might be suspended for years. Facts later showed he did not commit assault, but the situation had escalated enough that the PDC issued a formal warning and stated that disciplinary action was absolutely on the table if it ever happened again. If you're a Barney fan and didn't know this story, subscribe, because the next one is a full-blown meltdown that actually led to a real ban. James Richardson, the match-fixing scare. In 2018, the PDC Integrity Unit started investigating suspicious betting patterns around lower-tier events. One name that suddenly found itself dragged into rumor circles was James Richardson, not because of guilt, but because certain matches involving him attracted unusual betting spikes. Richardson was never found guilty. There was no evidence, no formal charge, no conviction, but the investigation's shadow and the betting irregularities damaged his momentum. For a period, Richardson quietly disappeared from big stages, and fans speculated whether the PDC had privately cooled him off as a protective measure during the probe. Even with no ban on paper, this became one of the most controversial moments in his career, because in darts, once your name gets linked with match fixing, even falsely, the stain sticks. The Kyle McKinstry case, the betting fix that shook the entire sport. This is the most serious modern darts ban on record. In 2020, the DRA banned Northern Irish player Kyle McKinstry for 8 years after proving he deliberately lost matches for betting syndicates. This wasn't speculation. This wasn't a rumor. This was proven. Betting irregularities raised alarms. An official investigation followed. McKinstry eventually admitted to behavior linked to throwing matches. The integrity of the sport was at risk. The DRA responded with one of the harshest punishments ever handed out. Alongside him, another player, Wessel Nijman, received a 5-year ban.
The text sent it to my friend was like, do you want to earn some easy money, something like that. First we joked around from the text, and then we got a bit exciting about it. So my friend met up with those guys, and they made it pretty clear the task was to lose 4-0.
Later reduced to 2.5 for cooperating. This case changed how seriously the darts world treats match fixing. Algorithms now monitor betting patterns across the world, and players receive mandatory integrity training, all because of this scandal. Ted Hankey from champion to criminal. Let's talk about probably the most shocking story of recent darts history. Ted Hankey, nicknamed The Count. This guy was a legend, 2-time BDO world champion in 2000 and 2009, but in September 2021, everything changed. Hankey sexually assaulted a young woman. The incident was caught on camera, and when he was arrested, he completely denied it at first. But once police showed him the video footage, he changed his tune and pleaded guilty.
Stephen Everett said Hankey would have, quote, denied it to the bitter end if the attack had not been caught on film. The footage was played to the judge after the courtroom had been cleared of public and the press. Hankey, who's from Stoke-on-Trent, pleaded guilty at an earlier hearing to this.
Here's what makes this even more disturbing. The judge said Hankey acted with an air of entitlement, like he believed nobody would believe her over him. In May 2022, he was sentenced to 2 years in prison and placed on the sex offender registry for 10 years. His dart career completely finished. He was banned from the sport, his crime overshadowed his achievements, and his professional standing collapsed. This wasn't just about losing a tournament, his entire life changed. So, what do all these stories have in common? Some players fell because of alcohol, some because of anger, some because of drugs. Some simply made terrible decisions under pressure, and a few threw away everything for quick money. Darts isn't just a game of numbers, it's a game of discipline, control, pressure, and choices. Careers can rise fast, but fall even faster, and that leaves us with the big question. Which banned darts player shocked you the most? And do you think any of them deserve a comeback? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one.